For more, let's cross live to Baghdad, where France 24's Jack Hewson is standing by. Jack, I mean, we want to couch this by saying, of course, these are still partial results, but what stands out to you as significant here?
Yeah, I'd like to put that in as a double disclaimer. They are partial results so far, and they are coming from the election commission, though, so it is worth commenting on them. They are official results, but they're coming in piecemeal, so it's worth commenting on what we've seen so far. And to me, obviously, it's big that Sadr's led the poll. He's got 73 seats so far. In terms of forming a coalition, that's going to be significant, but it's kind of expected. So to me, the bigger significant new developments have been, one, the return of al-Maliki, the Shiite former prime minister who leads the State of Law coalition. That's going to be a big deal. He's doubled his seat count, and in terms of forming a government, that will be very significant. Two, it's the massive loss of the Fatah coalition. So this coalition is the one linked to many of Iraq's paramilitary groups. It's very close to Iran. So them having lost about half of their seats is a big blow to the influence of political influence of Tehran in this country. And it's a big win for the protest movement who oppose that Iranian influence. And moreover, many of their members have been assassinated and killed by the aforementioned paramilitaries. Three, the biggest takeaway for me is the election of at least 10 members of Imtidad, a new protest movement party, with such a low turnout that you mentioned before, particularly low youth turnout. It was very unexpected that protesters would get a significant number of seats. So to have made it to double digits potentially is extremely impressive for them and a very big surprise.
Jack, let's talk a little more about al-Maliki. I mean, this is a name that's probably familiar to most of our viewers. I mean, his party had a strong showing. What does that result mean for the future of the Iraqi parliament?
Well, Maliki's return is very significant because it's his mismanagement that led to the rise of ISIS. He's an arch Shiite sectarian, and his alienation of the Sunnis after the departure of the Americans in 2012 led many Sunnis to take up arms with ISIS against the Shiite majority. That obviously all ended very badly. So for anyone who wants to see a post-sectarian Iraq, then the return of Maliki is not necessarily very good news. But more than that, from the point of view of forming a coalition government, it's very important to know that he's an enemy of Muqtada al-Sadr. He used the Americans in the 2000s to try and put down Muqtada al-Sadr's personal army of insurgents at that time, and he's never really forgiven him. So there's very little likelihood those two will form an alliance, and yet they have the first and third largest party presence in the parliament. So it then begs the question of who are they going to ally with, and that there'll be a race for who can build the alliance first. Sadr has the biggest bloc, but Maliki's a well-known political entity. So watching that dynamic play out will be very significant for who forms a coalition government.
France 24's Jack Hewson in Baghdad. Thank you so much for your reporting.